I mean, there is nothing like opening that microphone and 40,000 people are there and saying, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oracle Park, the home of your San Francisco Giants." And then they go bananas.
That was Giants PA announcer Renel Brooks-Moon. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco. In this podcast, Renel picks up where she left off in part 1. It started with a phone message from her childhood baseball team, asking if she'd be interested in trying out to be the PA announcer at the team's brand new ballpark. Renel immediately thought of her mom and granddad, both baseball lovers who instilled an appreciation of the game in her when she was a kid. Fast forward from 1999 to today, and Renel is about to kick off her 22nd season in the PA booth. Toward the end of this podcast, we talk about the pandemic and the uprising for racial, social, and economic justice. Here's Renel.
My mom is like the original gamer babe. Still to this day, the games are on the radio and TV at the same time. But I called her as soon as I got, I didn't call the Giants back. I called my mom first and say, "You're not going to believe this." Because Jeff, I spent every summer with my parents and my big brother going to Candlestick Park. I mean, it's just how I was raised. We're such a baseball family. And my Uncle Ernie as well, who was married to my dad's sister, the matriarch of our family, Aunt Lodi, who was the first of the family to migrate out west and kind of gave up her own hopes and dreams so that my dad and their younger sister could pursue their education. Mm-hmm. And she was just she was ahead of her time. She was such an independent woman and such a badass and just a great role model for me and just encouraged me. And, you know, it was all about education, you know, you get the good grades and, you know, we'll go on a trip or something, you know what I mean? She was amazing. Aunt Lodi, we called her. Mm-hmm. But so, yeah, my brother had big dreams of being a major league pitcher. And I remember going to his tournaments every summer down the Central Valley and in Stockton. It's just what we did. Yeah. And I just loved it from my earliest memory. So that's a little background on why it's such a huge honor for me to be the voice of my childhood team and the team that, you know, my parents, especially my mom, you know, loves so much. It's crazy.
Can we hear just quickly a little bit about the actual auditions? Did they happen at Candlestick or at the new park?
Yeah, the new park wasn't ready yet. This was November 1999. So yes, I did 3 auditions, all of them at Candlestick. And the first audition was starting lineups and in various different copy that you read throughout the game, you know, like get your 3-pack of tickets. The Rockies are coming today. You know what I mean? Yes. Visit sfgiants.com and grab your 4-pack of ticket, you know, so those kind of promotional copy that we read between innings and public service announcements. So that was the first audition. Second one was very similar. After the second one, I got the call that it was narrowed down and one other. I didn't know who I was up against, and that's fine with me because it would have probably gotten in my head. Yeah. But I later found out that they auditioned all female broadcasters in San Francisco because they were the first team to hire a female announcer, my predecessor, Sherry Davis, who did the last 7 seasons at Candlestick Park. So they didn't want to go backwards, which I applaud them for. Mm-hmm. But they wanted a woman with broadcast experience. And no disrespect to Sherry Davis, did a fantastic job. She won the job. There was an open call audition for fans. And I didn't even think to do that because I was like really super busy, you know, with my radio career and loving that and all that came with that. And I also been doing some TV work for the Oakland A's, as a matter of fact. And I'm pretty sure Larry Baer knew that. And that's what kind of piqued his interest in inviting me to audition. So yeah, my sports broadcasting career actually began with the A's back in the Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, Bash Brother days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then I find out it's just me and another one. And so I'm like, well, I'm going in. I'm about to nail this for the third audition, right? and I got it.
How did that feel? I mean, obviously there weren't fans, but you're like you said, you grew up going to games there, and now you're auditioning for what would be you in a live setting with, like you doing the twist with all those folks. It's like, how did that feel for you, Renel?
Oh my God, Jeff, it felt so amazing to hear my voice on the PA
Yeah.
system at the park. And not just as a little girl with my parents, but then, my best friend in high school, Tina Shadowin's one of the few that, accepted me at Woodside. And, we loved the same things. We loved pop music and pop culture and sports, especially baseball and our Giants. So once we got our driver's license, we were driving ourselves to Candlestick and just we were gamer babes back then and stuff. I remember we would always go every year. There was an on-field photo day where fans could come to the game early and you could take pictures with the guys, and we're like in high school and we're crushing on all of them. I mean, we love the sport, but we're also crushing on them and everything. But it felt amazing, Jeff. And I called my mom right after that first audition and I said, Mom, even if I don't get this job, what an honor and a privilege
Mhm.
it was to be in that booth and audition and hear my voice echoing through Candlestick Park. And it felt so natural and so comfortable, Jeff. I wasn't nervous.
Awesome.
I had no idea what they were going to spring on me, but I know that I know the game. I love the sport. This is a team along with the A's that I rooted for as a little girl and as a teenager and a young woman.
Mhm.
And I think also my broadcast experience helped because one of the first things that Dave Sholin, my mentor, said before I did that first shift at KFRC, he says, just imagine yourself in your living room with your girlfriends or your family and just be your authentic self.
Just tell them
Always
what's
be your
going
authentic.
on.
Yeah. And I still do that. I mean, because, the message was people respond to authenticity. They
Right.
don't respond when they can tell when you're putting on a fake
Right.
voice or an announcer voice or a broadcaster voice, right?
Right.
And also he said, to visualize your audience. Once I got on the morning show, it was like visualize your audience. Who are you talking to from 6 to 10? You're talking to families around the dinner table and parents getting the lunches ready, getting the kids ready, or commuters sitting in their car or on the bus. And so I've always been able to visualize my audience without them being there, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And so that served me well in my auditions.
I don't think it's an overstatement. Let me see what you think about this. That because you said this experience happened to you, it happens to me, it happens to everyone I know who loves I think especially baseball, but other sports too, is that the experiences of going to games, where you start when you're a kid going with your parents or your grandparents or your friends. And anyway, the voice of the announcer is as much a part of those experiences as, hot dogs and home runs and all the other stuff that comes along with it. And now you are that voice. What do you think of that?
It's just it's bananas.
Yeah.
It's absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
And I have to say that the fan base for the most part has really embraced me over the years. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that a lot of them, knew me from the radio. They were
Right.
already familiar with me, and I always talked about going to baseball games and the Battle of the Bay. I mean, they knew I loved the sport and loved the team, and I think they knew that I was coming in with a great amount of respect
Yeah.
for the position and for the team. But it blows my mind today. When people say, I get goosebumps hearing your voice. I'm like, oh my God. And and last season without the fans, and I mean, so many of my social media followers like, my God, we miss hearing you so much. And it has just moved me. It has really just moved me. And again, I can't say enough about what an honor and a privilege it is to have this position and to have this, historic fan base, that's passed down generationally since 1958, embrace me the way that they have. But it's still a trip for me when people say that how my voice affects them. Or
Mhm.
in fact, I did a PSA taping at the ballpark last month with a crew from Mayor Breed's office. And one of the guys on the crew, when I started talking, he goes, "Oh my God, I just got chills." And I was like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" So And that was something that never occurred to me, how it would affect people hearing my voice.
Yeah.
And this is my 22nd season. And I will say that my style has evolved over the years, because here's another situation where I'm the first, and there wasn't anybody really I was the only woman in the department at that time, and I really had to figure it out for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, and I've gotten more relaxed over the years, but those first couple seasons I was playing it by the book, because I knew all eyes were on me. Just just play it straight, no chaser.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to do too much extra. And over the years I've kind of relaxed my style a little bit, and people seem to really appreciate it. And it's what's really special though, Jeff, is it's not just the fans. It's like our players, but it's visiting players
Yeah.
that have reacted to me as well, which I didn't see that coming at all. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been really fun. Kind of, I have some Twitter relationships with some guys on other teams, and so that's been a real thrill for me, because I'm thinking, I mean, I appreciate you saying that the voice is as much of the experience, but I'm thinking nobody's listening to me. Players aren't listening to me.
Oh no,
but they are.
it's there. It's like, and at the risk of flattering you or making you blush, it's like your specific voice and demeanor, it's just, I don't know, it's embracing, and it's comforting and soothing, and it's
Oh, thank
magical,
you.
and it's just as much a part of the uh well, now Oracle Park experience as the views of the bay or the glove and all that
Oh,
stuff. So
thank you. Thank you for that. That means a lot. And yeah, it has been a magical experience for me. And I appreciate that so much. And when I first got hired, my whole approach still to this day is I'm like your host for the
yeah,
afternoon.
right.
I'm going to guide you through this game. I'm going to pump it when necessary. I'm going to lay back when necessary. But
Tell us
my,
how to
my
go through the metal detectors when we're coming
that's
into the
right.
park.
That's right. And the disclaimer at the beginning of the game, and the
Yeah.
evacuation video and everything.
Yep.
But I mean, there is nothing like opening that microphone and 40,000 people are there and saying, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oracle Park, the home of your San Francisco Giants." And then they go bananas. Oh, there's
Yeah.
nothing better than that. And then I've welcomed you, and now I'm going to guide you through this game. That's how I see myself as your host for the day.
Renel, can we do a lightning round real fast? Because I do we're running kind of close to an hour, but there's some things I want to do lightning round, because I want to give a little more time to talk about more recent stuff. Does that sound good?
Sure. Yeah.
So, lightning round, 2002 World Series,
Nervous wreck.
2010 World Series.
Much more at ease.
Okay, because you've done it before. What about,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't win here. They didn't win any of them here, right?
Nope.
But was it 2012 when all those crazy like elimination games were happening? And anyway, 2012.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Insanity. Blood pressure went
yeah.
up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I can't, 2014, we can't leave that one out.
Spectacular. Super relaxed for that one. It's like, well, this is just what we do. Okay, people, this is where we belong. This is what we do. And also for all three of those to MC the rally after the parade.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Extraordinary. What an experience all three of those were. Just amazing. I mean, this job has just given me so many experiences that I could have never, ever imagined, and each one better than the previous one.
Amazing. As important as your story and your career have been, I really want to kind of get us closer to the present moment. And the two big things on my mind, and I think a lot of people's minds, are the Black Lives Matter / movement for social, racial, economic justice, and this dang pandemic. So let's start with COVID and your experience with the Giants through that. I think for most folks, most fans, the first kind of thing was that the games in Arizona stopped, right? But
Hmm.
what was your experience? What were they telling you? And then when games did start, what was it like to be at the stadium and without fans? What was that?
Yeah, I had a really, really hard time when we were, it's like a year ago, almost exactly, right?
Right.
That the shelter in place order happened,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what that meant for my job.
Yeah.
And I really didn't hear anything for a long time, because it took MLB a while to figure out, what they were going to do.
Right.
It helped that the NBA, kind of led the way, but there were several weeks there where I was like, and not just what I do, on the field or in the booth, but the TV shows that I had been doing for 2 seasons, the Forever Giants TV series, that
Oh
was
yeah.
gone. And
Oh right.
um,
Would you drink wine with the players and yeah, that's right.
how great a gig is that?
I
Let me tell you.
loved
So
that show. Yeah.
thank you. Did I mention it's the Emmy Award winning series Forever Giants?
That's yeah, you just did. Yes.
Again, here's another experience I didn't expect. I won an Emmy for the show with Jeffrey Leonard. It's crazy.
Amazing.
But yeah, so and we were gonna start, our season premiere was gonna be with Will Clark, and I was so crushed when we couldn't do the show anymore. We actually got 2 shows in January with Matt Cain and Nate Shearholtz, and I love them both, but particularly Matt Cain and what he means to the franchise.
Mm,
And it was a wonderful conversation with both of them. So we did those in January, and then next thing we know, I was supposed to talk to Will Clark in April, so that didn't happen. And then all of the events that I do in the community, just so privileged to be able to use my voice at different events and functions and galas, to raise money for organizations and to increase awareness about causes and organizations that mean so much to me. I mean, it's
right.
just I didn't see that coming either. But once
Yeah.
especially after the 2002 World Series, when the MLB Hall of Fame, acknowledged me as the first woman to public address announce any professional sport in a championship game.
Right.
Now I'm getting all this media attention and all this local attention, and it led to me hosting London Breed's historic inauguration, and led to me hosting former Fire Chief Joanne Hayes White's retirement party. I hosted the U.S. Conference of Mayors when the late Ed Lee was our mayor. And just,
Wow.
I've become friends with Madam Speaker Pelosi, and her daughter Christine is a good friend of mine. She serves on the community fund board. And Willie McCovey, may he rest,
Oh,
he asked me to MC his wedding. I mean, it's all these amazing
wow.
things. So those things, I was like, well, all that is gone. And
Yeah.
and I really had a hard time. And my gym was closed, so I couldn't go out and work out my frustrations or anything. And it
Hmm.
was really, really, I'm not gonna lie, a hard time for me. And I mentioned my mom's 94, and really concerned about her being isolated
Hmm.
down there in Menlo Park and not being able to see her regularly and everything. So it was really a tough couple of months. And then I started getting requests to do PSAs, and especially encouraging minority communities to, if you can, stay home, social distance, where just kind of encouraging everybody to get on board with what we need to do, to
Right.
get through this. So I started doing a lot of those. And I remember we had a sing along celebrating I Left My Heart in San Francisco. And all of a sudden I'm doing all of these videos and virtual things. So it started to pick up. But then once the season was about to begin, we just got into it. I mean, there was
Yeah.
like really no ramp up. It was like just time. It was time to come to the ballpark. And unfortunately, a lot of our crew was laid off.
Mm.
Um, the the PA booth and the control room and all the broadcasting booths, we now have like plastic shower curtains, separating us, and
Yeah.
plastic partitions and everything. And the hardest part for me though was walking into the ballpark and not seeing all of the security guards and the ushers that I've gotten to know over the years, and then
Yeah.
walking past the empty concession
Session.
stands.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking for a number of reasons, but particularly these are people that I've gotten to know so well over the years, and
Hmm.
they have lost their jobs. So
Hmm.
was very emotional, and it was only 30 games, Jeff, but it felt like we played a full season because of the pandemic and then George Floyd's murder and Black Lives Matter. It was just so much emotion. It was such a heaviness that it felt like more than 30 games, but it was challenging.
That might be a good segue, because it was prior to the resumption, or I guess the beginning of games, right? Was because games didn't start until July. Is that right?
That's right, end of July.
So late May, early June was the uprising, and I know, because I follow you and I know who you are. I know that your voice was active right away. Can I ask you to talk about then, once baseball did resume, the reaction that you were seeing from especially the manager and some of the players and the organization? I know Farhan is pretty vocal. Um, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, well, first of all, it was I felt that it took MLB and the Giants way too long to issue a statement,
Yep.
Denouncing the killing of unarmed Black folks. I felt like it was like eight days maybe, and then finally I tweeted out to MLB. I was like, where are you? I don't see you. I don't hear you. This is the League of Jackie Robinson, for crying out loud. What's going on? And then all of a sudden, Jeff, I started getting all this media attention. I was doing interviews nationwide, and because I spoke up, and people are like, well, it's so courageous of you to speak up, but I would not be my father's daughter if I, if I didn't speak up. And not just the Black Lives Matter movement, which they were, totally on board with, but also once again drawing attention to the lack of diversity in the sport, and particularly here with the Giants, no Black players, no Black coaches, and don't even get me started on the front office. So I was like, well, I'm going all in now. I'm going all in, and I felt a responsibility. I represent the community. I also represent the Black community. And I don't mean this to like hype myself up, but I am the Black face of this organization since we don't have any players or coaches. And I knew that came with a big responsibility, and I couldn't be quiet. And, I took some hits on social media, which I totally expected, but for the most part, just unbelievably overwhelming support. And I had multiple conversations with Larry after George Floyd's murder, and having these conversations that I've been trying to have with him for 20 years. And we have since established, we always had a good relationship, but now we talk very frequently. He makes sure that he checks in with me, every 2 weeks, and updates me on what's going on there. I update him on what's going on with our Black Employees Resource Group and what the community is saying to me when I go out and do my events, and sharing that with him. And it's been really great, because I told him after that initial conversation in June, it's like, if you guys are in this, I need you to be all in. I don't need it to be one game. I don't need it to be one season. And I will be holding you all accountable. And I have continued to do so up until just recently, when we had the controversy yet again with one of our principal owners, Charles Johnson. So I'm continuously working on that battle. So my plate is full.
Well, I'm not rapping, but I want to thank you for those efforts, because it's hard when there's an organization or a team that you love so much for entertainment reasons, or for leisurely reasons, and you just want them to do the right thing. And so thank you for fighting that fight from the inside.
Oh, thank you for saying that. And let it be known, I've been fighting that fight since I got there in 2000, because I was like, there are no Black people here. I don't see a lot of women in management. I don't see a lot of representation from the Hispanic community, and that's also a battle I've been fighting since radio. I mean, again, I am my father's daughter, so see something, you speak up and say something.
Work to do. A lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No matter how many hits I might take along the way, it is the right thing to do. And I'm totally at peace with everything I've done. And I want to give a quick shout out to Gabe Kapler, who I've also established a great relationship with. And because obviously, his hire was controversial and was not really popular. But that night when we were playing the Oakland A's and he took that knee, I can't, I'm
Yeah,
getting goosebumps now.
me too, Renel. It got me back. Like, I'm not saying I left the Giants, but I was, with everything that was going on last year in the middle of summer, I was like, I didn't know I needed that distraction. And so Aaron and
Right.
I turned that game on, and I was like, holy expletive, Aaron. I was like, come
I
look at
know.
this.
I did not see that coming. It wasn't just him. It was Pablo.
Players, yeah.
It was Austin Slater.
Yep.
It was Yastrzemski.
Yep.
It was Mauricio Dubon, and it was
Mm.
Jalen Davis until he got sent to Sacramento. But I was like, this is phenomenal. So I tweeted at Gabe. I was like, thank you for this. This means so much. You have no idea. He tweets me back and says, thank you for all that you do. So he was very well aware of my contributions and my position in the community and with the Giants. And from there, we just developed a really wonderful relationship. He helped me out off season with a couple of my nonprofits, and
Great.
he was wearing his Black Lives Matter T-shirt. So
Yeah.
it was a real gift to get to know him on that level, and just so grateful. And he comes from activists. His parents were activists, so
Oh, I
he
didn't
comes
know
from
that.
it honest. We both do, so we connect on that level as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Renel, I want to end on a quick high note. I just, before we started recording, I happened to see a tweet from you, something about having fans back at the ballpark. Is that a thing?
Oh, that we are so trying to make it a thing. In
Yeah.
fact, Larry was on the news. Larry Bear was on the news. I think maybe it was Wednesday, and it was saying it's looking encouraging with the vaccine rollout, how it's expanding, and the Fan Safe program, which you can go to fgiant.com and find out all about the safety protocols and what we are doing to make it as safe as possible for fans, and how things are going to be different. You'll be sitting in pods, and your food will be delivered to you. It's going to be a whole new ball game, if I may.
Oh, good one. Good
Sorry,
one.
that was horrible. I apologize for that.
Nope.
But yeah,
This podcast loves dad jokes. That was a good one.
It's not etched in stone yet, but that
Yeah.
is the hope, that we will have some percentage of fans opening day. And I hope and pray, because I miss the fans so much. I miss their energy. I miss the relationships that I built with them, the ones that sit in section 214 right in front of me all these years. And they were so gracious and kind to reach out to me and say, it's great to hear your voice on the radio or through the telecast, because it's bringing us a welcome distraction, and it's giving us a sense of normalcy. So I felt really honored under last year's circumstances to be able to give that to the fan base.
Okay, I lied. One more minute. I want to.
Okay.
I want to hear your reaction too, because Michelle and I, this is episode 1 of our 4th season of the podcast. We have themes for each season, and something we're kind of coalescing around for this upcoming season is the idea of regrowth and regeneration, and something, whatever we're going to do, it's going to be new, and this, building the city up from what it has been. Can you speak to your thoughts on that idea of, what's next for us here in the Bay Area and San Francisco?
Well, this is I'm so proud to be a resident and a citizen of the Bay Area my whole life. Not that it hasn't been with its challenges, but ultimately this is a community that rallies back.
Yeah.
The 06 earthquake, the Loma Prieta earthquake after 9/11. I mean, and Michelle and I were talking today about, we hope when everything does get back to new normal, whatever, that we both were saying how that we hope that people will continue to stop and smell the roses, and that we hope that this experience is giving everybody a chance to slow down and appreciate the things that we have taken for granted for so long.
Yeah.
Like I haven't hugged my mother in a year. I could cry right now.
Oh man.
And just really not picking up that crazy pace that we all had before this.
Yeah.
And that we've learned to appreciate the smaller things that really mean the most to us in life. That is my hope. And then again, to build us back, stronger than ever, as we've done so many times before in the history of the Bay Area. But it is my hope that we all don't get back to, running ourselves ragged and, keeping the phones in our hands all the time. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah, I hear you.
just have a new appreciation for life and for living here in this wonderfully progressive community. That is my hope.
That was Renel Brooks Moon. Next week on Storied San Francisco, get to know comedian Arthur Gauss. Music for the podcast was produced, performed, and curated by Otis MacDonald. Original photography is by Michelle Kilfeather. Aaron Lim of Bitch Talk Podcast is our contributing producer. The show is produced and hosted by me, Jeff Hunt. Now in our 4th season, we have nearly 150 episodes available on our website, storiedsf.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can, subscribe, rate, and review our show so that we can reach even more folks. And if you'd like to drop us an old-fashioned email, we'd love it. The address is storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.
This podcast is a proud member of the BFF.FM podcast network. Learn more at podcast.bff.fm.
BFF.FM, best frequencies forever.